Good morning. It's the 13th day of August 2025, a day that has behind it a total of 88 presidential aspirants who picked up nomination forms. Now, it's important to note that the participation of women compared to their male counterparts is still low. But even on day one, 51 presidential aspirants picked up their forms, different shapes, different colors, different intentions, different ideations, all in one position, and that is to be the president of Uganda. There are those who came dressed up in sandals, stating that they are representing Omuntu Wawansi. Some came with colored hair. Generally, Uganda is such an interesting country, one that gives you a lot of options and things to look at. But at the end of the day, the vote is yours. And at the end of the day, the process also determines who ends up on that ballot paper. But good morning, Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba Musisi, and I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, always here to inspire you on UBC TV. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Julie, and our viewer. Thank you very much for waking up with us this lovely morning. Now, very interesting, and I think this speaks a lot in the minds of very many political analysts, not only in Uganda, but also internationally, seeing so many people pick up presidential forms. What does it mean? What's its implication? When we see people as young as 20 years come up, when we see people who we know that definitely these are novice, they are going nowhere, but coming and picking forms.
All right.
So what does this mean? I think that is the biggest question.
Indeed.
Away from just the excitement, so and so has picked forms, so and so has picked forms, if we take a deeper analysis into it, one, to reflect the democracy in Uganda.
It does.
Because there are countries where you cannot dare to contest. Go to North Korea. There are countries where coming out and declaring that you're standing for presidency has a lot of negativity.
Right. I did try to listen to some of their, could I call them mini manifestos? And they were rather interesting. One of them stated that she dreams for Uganda to be at 1 trillion, Uganda shillings, and she said that she had it in her pocket. She had it in cash, and I thought for her safety. Was that information keeping her safe? But
by and large, one is the democracy in this country.
yes,
This is an evidence of the democracy. But also, it's a benefit of lifting the presidential term limit, age limit. Because now we are seeing very young people who, if we had not made that amendment, would not have this opportunity to contest for presidency. But then it also shows how unserious we are taking the politics and political officers, because I saw many who came to pick these forms, but even if you ask them the role of the president, and you would see the unseriousness,
but
more of showbiz. So we have belittled politics and political officers to something of showbiz, to something of just mere fun, to something of maybe I can trend. So that is how we've belittled. And that is why you see we have members of parliament or people who contest as members of parliament, and some are not anywhere near worth being. We have LC5s, we have councillors. You go to a council, leave alone these urban centers, but almost the entire council, these districts, whatever, you look at the level of people who are representing them, who are going to discuss the district budgets, and your body, you grow goose pimples. So we've belittled the political officers in our country that anyone can come. Then lastly, it also shows lack of civic education.
right.
That people are not, they are not, it's out of ignorance. We've not done so much as far as civic education. What we do is voter education. Tick here, this is, line here, voter education, how someone is going to vote, but not civic education. So there are quite a number of things in this for us to analyze politics and impacts of things that they speak to this nation.
Right. It was also good to see some of the old guards from the past presidential elections, Mabirizi, Katumba, Willy Mayambala, all coming back to contest for the office of Uganda's president.
And it was very interesting. The last presidential season, I spoke a lot with William Ayambala.
Right.
I was doing a radio talk show, and there was a regular, that is on Star FM. But these are things I've been telling you, that some of these people have various reasons. Many are not coming to win, and they don't even have hopes of winning. But also good enough, there's a process that eliminates a number of them.
True.
Yes.
Anyways, let's have a look at what is on the local scene.
Well, we begin with President Museveni, who is in Egypt. Now, President Museveni and his Egyptian counterpart, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, have committed to deepening the historic ties between Uganda and Egypt. The partnership focuses on Nile River, trade, and regional stability. This came during a joint press conference in Cairo on the second day of President Museveni's three-day official visit at the invitation of the President of Egypt. Later, President Museveni called upon Egyptian investors to channel capital and entrepreneurship opportunities into Uganda for the two countries to transform their centuries-old Nile connection into a powerful engine for economic growth. He was speaking at the Egypt-Uganda Business Forum in Cairo alongside his host. President Museveni declared that his visit was driven by one overriding mission: attracting wealth. The Egyptian-Uganda Business Forum attracted about 200 participants on the theme strengthening trade and investment cooperation between Uganda and Egypt. The government of Uganda remains committed to advancing responsible biotechnology as part of a broader public health and development agenda through the National Biosafety Framework to promote scientific research and ensure innovation. This was reiterated by the Prime Minister of Uganda, the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, while presiding over the official opening of the Strategic East Africa Regional Engagement on Biosafety and Environmental Regulation held in Kampala, Uganda. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, opened the East African Regional Engagement on Biosafety and Environment Regulation, advancing trans-border dialogue on research, regulation, and appreciation of genetically modified mosquitoes for malaria control and elimination. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, said government will advance responsible biotechnology through the National Biosafety Framework. She urged African countries to align policies that match with new technologies. The Deputy Chairperson of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Opio Samuel, noted that as members of Parliament will support its plans to set up the district biosafety law to protect the ecosystem. Uganda is prioritizing the establishment of e-waste management centers under the National Development Plan 4 in response to the growing demand for digitalization. This was revealed by Dr. Amina Zawede, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information, Communications, Technology and National Guidance during a validation engagement on policies and regulations for ICT, authorization and e-waste management in the COMESA region. E-waste management is a regional and global concern through the demand for technology. Measures must be taken into account to protect the environment. Uganda has policies for e-waste management, but limited funding hinders implementation. The Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, points out the challenge caused by lack of e-waste management, including environmental degradation. Currently, many institutions have storerooms piled high with e-waste or electronic waste, which is useless. Coming to the end of our international stories, the NRM top secretariat officials have met with the SEC aspirants and decried the indiscipline that some of them display during their campaigns ahead of the 28th Delegates Conference. Party Secretary General Richard Odong expressed more disappointment with the incumbent SEC members who were absent in the meeting without notice or representation. Indiscipline among the NRM Central Executive Committee aspirants prompted the party secretariat officials to convene an emergency meeting. During the meeting held at Plot 13 Chadondo Road in Kampala, showed over 200 aspirants, mainly new entrants, turned up with most incumbents absent, that the party Secretary General Richard Odong decried. He urged the aspirants to respect the NRM principles and the party constitution. The same call for respect for one another was also made by the first National Vice Chairperson, Alhaji Moses Chigongo. The SEC new entrants raised red flag over vetting of them by their fellow incumbent aspirants, citing conflict of interest. Meanwhile, many of the aspirants agreed that politics of do or die is not healthy for NRM and call for peaceful campaigns among SEC members. SEC members and special interest groups will be voted on the 27th and 28th of this very month. The candidates will be vetted by the SEC first before voting, which will be by lining up behind that candidate. Now, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning, and Julie is ready to take us through the rest of the world.
That is very true, and we are starting off from Europe. At least 3 people have died in a scorching heat wave that is fueling dozens of wildfires across parts of southern Europe, forcing thousands of people from their homes. Red heat alerts have been issued in parts of Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and the Balkans, warning of significant risks to health as temperatures push above 40 degrees Celsius. Spain's weather service, EMET, said temperatures could reach 44 degrees Celsius in Seville and Cordoba, while southern Portugal could also hit 44 degrees Celsius. In Spain, an equestrian center employee died after suffering severe burns in Tres Cantos, near Madrid, where winds over 70 kilometers per hour drove flames near homes, forcing hundreds to flee. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said on Tuesday that rescue services are working tirelessly to extinguish the fires. "We are at extreme risk of forest fires. Please be very cautious," he added in a post on X. In Spain's northwestern region of Castile and Leon, almost 4,000 people were evacuated and more than 30 blazes were reported, with one threatening the UNESCO-listed Las Medulas, renowned for its ancient gold mines. Now, moving on to the White House. The White House characterized President Donald Trump's upcoming meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin as a listening exercise, appearing to downplay expectations for a peace deal heading into the high-stakes summit in Alaska on Friday. This is a listening exercise for the president. Look, only one party that's involved in this war is going to be present, and so this is for the president to go and to get again a more firm and better understanding of how we can hopefully bring this war to an end, Leavitt told reporters at the White House briefing. Sitting face to face rather than speaking over the telephone will give this president the best indication of how to end this war and where this is headed, she said. Interesting. It's more of a listening exercise than a...
Very interesting, because most Ukrainians feel if they are not at the table,
Yes.
then why decide for them? But
That's
on the other hand, one would say still their presence could be minimal, because who is helping Ukraine fight the war and sustain it? That is USA.
Right.
So he who pays the piper determines the tune. If I'm the one doing the great work for you, because even if it's said, I'm not giving you any more support,
Right.
what guards them, the system they're using, is US based. If they just remove that system, then still, they'll be very much finished.
So in a nutshell, Ukraine is represented by the US
It's
president.
represented by the US president.
Anyways, moving on, let's come to the continent. The United States has sanctioned an armed group accused of illicit mining in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as both the army and the Rwandan-backed M23 rebel group traded accusations of violating a recently reached U.S. mediated ceasefire deal by attacking each other's positions. Wow. The U.S. Department of the Treasury said on Tuesday that it was blocking all interests and restricting transactions with Pareco FF and an armed group that it said controlled the key coltan mining site of Rubaya from 2022 to 2024, and which has opposed the M23 group. The administration of President Donald Trump has been pushing for U.S. access to the region's minerals, as it has done in other parts of the world, including Ukraine. It also slapped sanctions on the Congolese mining company CDMC, saying it sold minerals that were sourced and smuggled from mines near Rubaya, and two Hong Kong-based export companies, Eastrise and Star Dragon, which have been accused of buying minerals from the armed group.
US wanted to access what?
Minerals in the DR Congo, that is in Africa.
Congo has suffered from what a very beautiful girl on a village suffers from.
I agree.
Now, the wealth of Congo,
is it steers?
Instead of being a blessing, it's a curse to Congo. And that is why we are going to see endless conflict. Just like that one beautiful girl in a village.
And unfortunately,
she will face so many challenges.
And unfortunately, increasing the refugee burden, which is not fun. No one wants to be a refugee in a foreign country, you know. Everyone wants to be in their home country, enjoy it and all its resources.
And so when our Prime Minister calls upon the international community, please give us the money we need to make life better for these refugees. This is not Uganda's problem. Now when you hear selling, go to Hong Kong, go here, others showing interest to take over these mines, give us the money. Look after these people properly.
Let's take a trip to what's on in the dailies today.
Well, the New Vision this morning, something very strange again happens. Now 30 probed in 53 billion government payroll scam. 53 billion. And Professor Barunywa among accused, summoned to court. There is a picture of President Yoweri Museveni and the Egyptian president. He is in Egypt for a 3-day visit on invitation of the Egyptian president. Now, Karoro Krut fought for women emancipation. And murder suspect confesses in church and arrested. Don't know if he was trying to give a testimony or what, or the usual confession by the Catholics. Now we have a committee to oversee election setup, that is NRM SEC. And a picture of the Secretary General there. Church of Uganda calls for fresh Busoga bishop nominees. Ooh, this is also getting complicated. Remember the Mitiana? Now, also still looking at the New Vision, we have the Citizen Manifesto, and that is voters want solutions to unemployment. Well, those and more are the stories in the New Vision. I'll now let Judy take us to Kenya and Tanzania.
Right, and we are starting off with Tanzania, that is the Citizen, and the headline there is Industrial Drive Boost as Government Unveils 5 SEZs. That is a headline in the Citizen. Also in there, Australia deepens economic relations with Tanzania, and digital forensic training gets fresh impetus amid cyber threats. Also right at the top, it's D-Day for CCM civic aspirants after parties unprecedented decision. Now let's go to Kenya, the Daily Nation. Alarm as IEBC risks bungling mini polls. That is in the Daily Nation. Also in there, welcome to Homa Bay, Ruto to open devolution conference, and inside Chan tickets scandal. That is in Kenya. Very interesting story. Now, the other story that you can look forward to is Youth Day. Ruto quotes the youth with bold promises amid rising discontent. And also, right at the top, TSC's call for 24,000 interns revives push by unions for better employment terms. Well, that brings us to the end of what we have in the dailies today. Good Morning Uganda definitely does continue, but let's take a short break as you enjoy some music from Emugole, that is Desire Luzinda. And the song is Nafuna Yesu with Joseph Sachs. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. It's the 13th day of August 2025, a day that has behind it a total of 88 presidential aspirants who picked up nomination forms. Now, it's important to note that the participation of women compared to their male counterparts is still low, but even on day one, 51 presidential aspirants picked up their forms, different shapes, different colors, different intentions, different ideations, all in one position, and that is to be the president of Uganda. There are those who came dressed up in sandals, stating that they are representing Omuntu Wawansi. Some came with colored hair. Generally, Uganda is such an interesting country, one that gives you a lot of options and things to look at, but at the end of the day, the vote is yours, and at the end of the day, the process also determines who ends up on that ballot paper. But good morning, Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba Musisi, and I am with Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono, always here to inspire you on UBC TV. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Julie, and our viewer. Thank you very much for waking up with us this lovely morning. Now, very interesting, and I think this speaks a lot in the minds of very many political analysts, not only in Uganda, but also internationally, seeing so many people pick up presidential forms. What does it mean? What's its implication when we see people as young as 20 years come up? When we see people who we know that definitely these are obvious, they are going nowhere, but coming and picking forms.
Right.
So what does this mean? I think that is the biggest question.
Indeed.
Away from just the excitement, so and so has picked forms.
Your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
if we take a deeper analysis into it, one, it will reflect the democracy in Uganda.
It does.
Because there are countries where you cannot dare to contest. Go to North Korea. There are countries where coming out and declaring that you're standing for presidency has a lot of negativity.
Right. I did try to listen to some of their, could I call them mini manifestos? And they were rather interesting. One of them stated that she dreams for Uganda to be at 1 trillion, Uganda shillings, and she said that she had it in her pocket. She had it in cash. And I thought for her safety. Was that information keeping her safe? But
by and large, one is the democracy in this country.
yes.
This is evident of the democracy. But also, it's a benefit of lifting the presidential term limit, age limit. Because now we are seeing very young people who, if we had not made that amendment, would not have this opportunity to contest for presidency. But then it also shows how unserious we are taking politics and political offices, because I saw many who came to pick these forms, but even if you ask them the role of the president, and you would see the unseriousness,
But it
more
was
of
good to-
showbiz.
it was-
So we have belittled politics and political offices to something of showbiz, to something of just mere fun, to something of maybe I can trend. So that is how we've belittled. And that is why you see we have members of parliament or people who contest as members of parliament, and some are not anywhere near worth being. We have LC5s, we have councillors. You go to a council, leave alone these urban centers, but almost the entire council, this district, whatever, you look at the level of people who are representing them, who are going to discuss the district budgets, and your body, you grow goose pimples. So we've belittled the political offices in our country that anyone can come. Then lastly, it also shows lack of civic education.
Right.
That people are not, they are not, it's out of ignorance. We've not done so much as far as civic education. What we do is voter education. Tick here, this is, line here, voter education, how someone is going to vote, but not civic education. So there are quite a number of things in this for us to analyze politics and impacts of things that they speak to this nation.
Right. It was also good to see some of the old guards from the past presidential elections, Mabirizi, Katumba, Willy Mayambala, all coming back to contest for the office of Uganda's president.
And it was very interesting. The last presidential season, I spoke a lot with William Mayambala.
Right.
I was doing a radio talk show, and he was a regular. That is on Star FM. But these are things I've been telling you, that some of these people have various reasons. Many are not coming to win, and they don't even have hopes of winning. But also good enough, there's a process that eliminates a number of them.
True.
Yes.
Anyways, let's have a look at what is on the local scene.
Well, we begin with President Museveni, who is in Egypt. Now, President Museveni and his Egyptian counterpart, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, have committed to deepening the historic ties between Uganda and Egypt. The partnership focuses on Nile River, trade, and regional stability. This came during a joint press conference in Cairo on the second day of President Museveni's three-day official visit at the invitation of the President of Egypt. Later, President Museveni called upon Egyptian investors to channel capital and entrepreneurship opportunities into Uganda for the two countries to transform their centuries-old Nile connection into a powerful engine for economic growth. He was speaking at the Egypt-Uganda Business Forum in Cairo alongside his host. President Museveni declared that his visit was driven by one overriding mission: attracting wealth. The Egyptian-Uganda Business Forum attracted about 200 participants on the theme strengthening trade and investment cooperation between Uganda and Egypt.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV and for watching Good Morning Uganda. We talked about 88 presidential candidates, aspirants, as of yesterday, who picked up nomination forms and are interested in the office of leading Uganda as the president of Uganda. And this is the road to 2026. We're wondering what causes it. We are wondering what is inspiring all of these young people, young, old, all in there. But I think indeed, as Robert stated, but even as I read, the youngest so far who has picked up a nomination has been 20 years. Many of them have different ideas as to why they are being pushed. Some of them it's because of the presidential convoys. They also feel that as aspirants they need their own convoys. Others because they feel perhaps since they have the money in cash they can help Uganda, you know. Others, they want to help single mothers. Different reasons, different ideas, different aspirations, but all to be manifested through the seat of the president of Uganda. Now 0709-602-592 is the WhatsApp number that you should engage and share your own opinion as to this matter. It's the road to 2026. 88 so far have picked up forms to contest as the presidents of Uganda. And it's a topic we're looking at. It's one that baffles, you know, when you think about it, if you think deep about it, yeah, it does baffle, but be a part of the conversation. And it's important to note that in 2021, that was the last general election. 58 aspirants picked up nominations. And at the end of the day, we had 11 candidates make it to the ballot paper. So far, we have 88. How many will make it to the ballot paper? Well, you and us here wonder. But at least let's talk about what we have right now, 88 of them. Robert, in fact, for anyone who probably did not start the show, just paint a picture or delve deeper into what could be causing this.
Well, thank you very much, Julie, for that question, and of course our viewer. Now, first and foremost, Uganda is a country that follows the law. Let's first look at our law. Now, our constitution and the Presidential Act allow any Ugandan, as long as you're above 18 years, you are a registered voter, a minimum of A level, to pick nomination forms if you have intentions. So first, the framers of our law made it possible that anyone who is above 18, anyone who is a voter, because you must prove evidence that you are a voter or a registered voter, definitely. Now, anyone who has A level qualifies if they want on individual merit or as an independent to contest. Now, if you're going to stand on behalf of a party, you must bring a letter from your party secretary general authorizing you to stand. Now, the law, and we must remember that we made an amendment in our constitution and removed age limit. Now in Uganda, no matter how old you are, even if you're 100 years, you can contest for presidency. No matter how young you are, as long as you're 18 and above, you can contest for presidency. Now, on the part of the law, the framers, our parliaments allowed this to happen. So that is the first stage, that there is no illegality committed and the legal atmosphere allows that. Two, there could be a number of countries in the world that may have something similar to ours. But let's look at the peace in the country. Because we've had many countries that they have not stopped constitutionally anyone to stand. But the prevailing circumstances cannot let you risk. Even your family will tell you, "Mwana, for good daro ya gatusa tomorrow," meaning our child. Have you run crazy, or you want all of us to be extinct? You get it? But here is a Uganda where anyone can wake up if they have the qualifications I've talked about. Let me give you an example of one of the aspirants. That is Joerin Najemba, 20 years, a senior 6 vacist. You know?
Right.
She knows I've finished A level, I'm a registered voter. Here I am, senior 6 vacist. Not worked anywhere, no experience of anything, but because there is peace, she knows she will come, she will pick the forms and go back home and sleep properly. Get TV coverage, make the utterances she wants to make, either positive or negative, and go back and sleep. Now, that is the peace ushered in by the NRM government and sustained. But also don't forget, this is a sign of democracy. That you can have peace, but when the top position is not something you can dare dream of. It is ring-fenced in a way or the other. But here we are, democracy from electing LC1, anyone can stand to any level. So the democracy also in the country permits this to happen. But also, let's look at one factor that many may not want to discuss, but I'll point it out. The longevity of the regime.
All right.
We are having young people I saw speak, they're like Judy or me, that when you talk about 40 years, you know, there's a generation that to eat, it is just wondering and asking. All these people who have been there before, I mean, none has been able to create change. Let me go and create that change.
Right.
Because for them, they wonder, how come 40 years one person has been in power? It seems these people who are there have just not failed. For them, it is a matter of change. Let's come and make change. There's all that, the effect of longevity. But remember, change can be negative or positive. So that's something you should question yourself. But there are those. Now, let's also look at commercialization of politics. Many know that one of the most paying jobs, I want to call it jobs, in Uganda is politics. Now, there are those that are coming not to serve, but they know that in case it rains soda, and they are there, their assumption is the wealth they can get. Now, also we have people who come into these races to be noticed. I was speaking to one of the SEC contenders. I won't mention which region. And I told him, but I think for your region, you can't win that, you know. And I also know that in the NRM, I've ever attended a delegates conference that was in Nambole some years back. And there is a way the vetting happens, and then the president came and said, we've agreed that we leave this for this one. This person told me, I know I can't win. But you attract the eye of the president. Now there are those that come in this race knowing they are coming as aspirants. If God allows it happens and maybe they get to candidate level, and they're able to get 100 signatures from 2/3 of the districts of Uganda, which is a uphill task, by the way.
It is.
Now, and you get there, they believe that His Excellency will support you.
Right. Let's look at the fact that most of them are in their 20s.
Now,
Quite a number of them are in their 20s. And you can't talk about that generation, Gen Zs, without talking about social media. Do you think social media has a big role to play?
that was the
in
point I
this?
was coming to. That now, leaving that of attracting the president's attention. Now, there is that level, I want to say, the unseriousness
Why
that
do you
we've
call it
attached to our
unserious?
politics.
Why do you call it unserious?
We've belittled officers,
Okay.
political officers. We've taken political officers so lightly in this country. Let me just even move away from the presidential level. I want to tell you, go to very many villages, ask for their LC chairpersons, one. A village full of doctors, let me just, maybe doctors' village. if the LC1 comes up, he may be the Dranko of the village.
Okay.
Move around Muyenga, move around where the people that are leading, when you ask for the LC executive and the residents in that area, it is laughable in some of these places. Why? Because we've not taken these offices serious. We've taken them as a joke. That is why this young generation knows that if I go on social media, if I pick these forms, my account is going to grow. I'm going to be noticed. Well, knowing they are coming only to remain as aspirants, they don't have the capacity. But you see cameras pointing, you getting these when you're picking the forms, and Justice Byabakama is there, these people are there, then you post on your page. We've had so much, the showbiz world has eaten us so much, and has brought a lot of unseriousness in serious issues. But that element that Ugandans, look at the members of parliament, even before you go to presidency, the people that stand as members of parliament, some of them, even if you ask them that sincerely, brother, what is taking you? I mean, why are you coming out? You know, we've belittled political offices, and the truth is, we are going to pay for that as a nation, unless we go back to a drawing board. That is why you'll see a member of parliament that will never say a word on the floor where it matters, but on the stairs of parliament, on social media, and on radio stations.
Let's compare this stage, this particular stage we're at of picking up nomination forms, especially for presidential aspirants. Let's compare it with the previous years.
One would say first, this time, yes, we've had a number of unserious people.
The class clowns.
I'll just say it, unserious people. I think there was a time when we had the late Pade Bitama. If you remember, he was a comedian.
Wow.
We had the likes of Senkubuge. I see this, I forget his other name, but he works on, I think, some local TV station. There's that man, he was in Bakaimbira. We had a few characters who came and they were not serious as much, but to attract, we had those few characters. Last time, coming closer, I must say we had a number of aspirants as well, but this time the number, of course, has greatly increased. We don't know by closure of that how many we shall have, but has greatly increased. Two, there's one strange thing, that also the level of political awareness, you know, every 5 years,
Right.
grows. People get deeper in politics. Most of the Gen Zs you've talked about, you see, they are entering politics more. They are craving to come closer to the table where decisions matter. And don't forget that even the aged are relying on them so much because they use the muscles where needed. You see today, let's talk about the different groups political parties have. You saw His Excellency when he was coming for nomination. The power of the ghetto youth. The ghetto youths. Very many youth, you need them. When you go to NUP, they believe the ghetto youth belong there. When you go to FDC, they are yearning for the youth. So the youth have now noticed that it's not only time for them to be used because of the energy they have, that they will do the shouting, they will do the running, they may do the throwing of stones where necessary, according to them or those that fund them. But now they also want to come closer to the table and decide and pull shots. They want to eat big. They no longer want to get the leftovers. So, and don't forget that the youth are the majority
Indeed.
of the population.
Indeed.
So we are seeing more youth coming because of those factors that the political parties themselves have brought them on board. They need them. But also, automatically, if they are the biggest percentage of a country, definitely for politics, we shall have to see them more there.
Right. Let me read some of the comments coming through, and this is from Tony Okelo from Gulu, who says unemployment pressure on the young, educated Ugandan and the poverty level. See any job adverts, even though one vacancy will attract over hundreds of applications. Why is the number of members of parliament increasing? Politics has changed in Uganda to be more of an employment opportunity. Derek from Arua, anyone who thinks he or she can let the person because you do not know he or she is planning, I advise you people to stop the mentality of age limit. And Odaro Vincent from Moru Katipe Tororo says some of them are picking nomination forms out of excitement. By the time of nominations, some of them will fail to raise nomination fees. Some will change their minds and they will be locked out. 88 is a very big number. How will the ballot paper look like?
Now, one thing for sure is we can't have the 88.
Definitely.
Because picking nomination forms is very easy. But traversing this country, 2/3 of the districts
And
in
eventually getting
Uganda,
nominated.
and you have to collect 100 signatures in a district. Every district get those 100 signatures of 2/3 of the districts in Uganda. When you do that mathematics, you need so many resources, and a person who has given you a signature cannot give me.
Right, that's true.
And then you go through the verification process. Now, away from there, you have to look for that nomination fee money. So this is where many are left out, even if one had the money, but the signatures
And I
become a
think
problem.
because it's most of them in the ages
And
of
many of them are
24,
independents.
Yes,
Not that their political
independent,
parties will help them.
and they are really young, so the money, the nomination fee alone is one thing that will kick most of them out.
But you see, in politics, sometimes money for nomination, where it comes from, you can't tell. I think we've also begun having election funders, candidate funders,
Even
people
if
who
you're
will be in the
independent.
shadow,
Right.
and they will push you to go. And they will fund.
Let's look at voter turnout or even engagement. Do you think just this stage alone, 88 or even more that could come, do you think it will affect voter turnout ultimately?
I don't think. I must say, over a time, there's a problem we are facing as a country. That voter turn-up significantly keeps on reducing. That is one thing. Many will register, but when it comes to the voting day, because there are so many factors that determine voter turn-up in our elections. One of the things we've seen may not speak good unless there is change. Let's just take the recently concluded election by the Electoral Commission. Leave alone the NRM, where also the NRM party primaries were not that very good in some districts. But we can take a case study of Kawempe. Now, unless so much is done, one of the things is the security on the voting day. All things can be well when people are willing to go and vote. But if, say, the voting day, there is so much violence, sometimes heavy deployment, for some people, you may find it hard to convince them that this is to protect you so that you can go and vote and come back home safely. When they see members touring streets, moving around cities, many will simply say, I will not go and vote. So the security conduct on that day to voting too, the campaigns themselves, how have the campaigns moved? Have we seen extreme levels of violence? That people get tired. They're like, well, if we've seen violence, on that day, you may do security very well. You don't have these so much that look as intimidative to our villagers, to our people in rural areas, to our grandparents who say, let's so that during this wasijali nyayo, you may do that very well on the voting day. But prior to the voting day, there's been people have lost lives, people have been arrested, people have lost the reason to go and vote. So
Right.
that will reduce numbers. But also not forgetting that we have a number of Ugandans now that have come to a point, and this is their mind and their opinion, as a journalist I interact with them, that see no purpose in voting. One will tell you, allegedly, one will say, of course, unconfirmed, but these are mindsets that I said we need to dilute, we need to change before elections.
Right.
That someone will tell you, even if we can't vote, the winner is already known. You get it? It's a mentality that has, over time of voting. Someone will tell you, I voted here, still remain the same person, I voted here. So they have developed, they don't understand that democracy, you're outsmarted by he who has the majority. So he or she may have been all along clinging to the wrong candidate in every election, the weakling. And because their candidate has not won for a very long time, their candidates that they choose have not won for a very long time, they now feel, even if I vote or I don't vote, still the incumbent is going to be declared the winner, he's going to win the election. So we have a lot of people who have now voter apathy there. Some are just tired there, some they'll register, update, and maybe think there is a change. Now they at a moment. So many this time may never vote. There is so much we need to do. May never vote. So that will speak to the voter turn-up. I anticipate a lower voter turn-up compared to those that have registered in 2016, in 2026, unless there are deliberate trends, one, to dilute some of this false propaganda. Duly many people have lost the desire to vote, simply because they feel it won't make any change. Others, how the security conducts itself, how the campaigns are going to run. If we want to improve voter turnout, security must perform its role, because we need to vote in a secure environment, but avoid these over incidents that happen, the extremes that happen. To the candidates themselves, how you govern your camps, we've just seen the NRM primaries, how these are internal, but you'd see the drama. Some candidates are just violent, some candidates are just unruly. The Electoral Commission itself must rein in this time.
Right.
Indisciplined candidates, we must seek a candidate, if they choose to go extreme, disqualified, discontinued, because the law gives them the capacity. Rather than just talking and casting blame here for us, our role is here. So, there are a number of factors that will determine that.
Thank you so much, Robert. Now, let's bring this conversation to a close, but with your opinion. Good morning at UBC. It's good to have such big numbers. To the best of my knowledge, majority are interested in building their CVs. The truth is, it takes a lot of influence voters to vote, a lot of influence for voters to vote their favorite. Above all, the area of coverage is wide. In the end, the common candidates take the votes. Samuel Opio from Lamuo district. It's good and, pardon me. Someone else comes through and says, good morning, Uganda. Security is needed, but those who are manhandled, do they get them at home? The people are rude. They take drugs and alcohol to go and cause mischief. Even security needs to feel secure so that they take precautions. Thank you so much for being on the show. We've been looking at the road to 2026. 88 presidential aspirants have so far picked up presidential nomination forms. And this is a huge number. The one in 2021 was just 58 candidates of them. And right now it's all the way up to 88. Where does this lead to? Our cameras are here to make sure that it's all covered and bringing it to you at the place of your comfort. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
My friend, I have made some good money today. It is time to relax and enjoy life.
Nice to hear that, Sim. Just give me some money.
Gino, let's go party. All the drinks and the muchomo are on me. I will crown the day with a babe to chill with before I return home. Let's enjoy ourselves. Life is too short.
You guy, you mean you want to take nothing home to your family? My friend, indulging in casual sex has become very risky and dangerous these days. There is HIV and what's still Mpox.
What are you saying, Gino? I use protection, a condom. Don't scare me.
Good. Condoms can protect you from HIV and other STIs, but not Mpox. If that person has the Mpox skin rash, he will also contract the disease Semu. What? Yes, Semu. And from there, you'll spread it to your loved ones, your lovely wife, and your children, who may suffer serious disease and even die.
Thanks, Gino. I heard about it earlier, but I just brushed it off as well. So I am cancelling this useless program and going home to my loved ones. Bye, Gino. Bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Semu. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50K.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information about Mpox, call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, WHO, and its partners.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala, 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business, it is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
We are coming to the climax of the vintage world. Thank you for being part of the journey. I bet you still want to even watch more of this, but we'll give you a homework of coming and visiting. Bring yourself and get to see what they have here. With me is a TV. I can call it a TV with just the smallest screen, as small as this watch screen. But we are going to be now exploring the world of TVs, how they go to evolve in sizes. I bet what you are watching from is way different from these. Even getting to see what's in the background, there's just different versions of them. And we are still with Mr. Emmanuel, who is going to tell us how these worked and how they go to evolve along the way. Welcome on the Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. My name is Zakia Lucky. Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, we are excited to have you again on the show. And regards to TV, we would like to know if you had one probably that inspired you to start.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you, viewers, for being with us from where we started till now. TV is very interesting because I'm sure everybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s has a story about what TV did to them. But like you said, even me, I was surprised when I found a TV that has an 1-inch screen as big as your smartphone, I mean smartwatch.
Yeah.
But this is a portable device that uses 8 batteries, dry cells.
Okay.
And you would actually load them in there and connect it onto a system, and you're able to watch news or while you're on safari. So you never missed out on a few things. But I think the innovators wanted to see how you can move, but also continue connected on such systems. Because the first television sets that we had were also fixed like the phones we did. They were fixed inside the house and such kind of thing. But they innovated and said, how do we have people enjoy entertainment on the move? Whereas this is 1 inch, this is another 4-inch TV. Very basic, like you can see. I like the buttons. The sound they make while you're tuning it. It's as if you're switching on something. And the on and off, everything was so nice the way it was designed. The engineering here was so superb. But this still is a mobile TV set, which dates back into the 70s, black and white. Whereas this is black and white, actually this is a colored television set. So you would see a picture, a colored picture of this kind of small TV. Interesting. The other thing that we have an assortment of TVs in the background. We have those that date back into the 70s and 80s. But one of the stories I remember, you asked me whether we had TV in our home. No, we didn't have one. We had to walk distances. My first time to watch TV, we had to walk a distance of over 12 kilometers from the home where I stayed. For those who are well versed with our villages, I walked. My father drove us from Mitiana and went to our uncles in Kachindu, miles away. And remember that time in the 80s, TV was only it was telecast in particular times. You didn't have the luxury of watching TV from morning to evening or even overnight. It was only between specific periods of time. So we had to, after lunch, when it was on a Sunday, after lunch, we had to drive, go to our uncle's place, sat down on a mat, obviously, and then we were able to see those people behind a gadget doing their thing. Curiosity, killed a rat. So I wanted to know who was behind there in that big box doing all the games. But unfortunately, because of time, we had to drive back home, so I didn't have the opportunity to go behind and check and see, because I thought behind there was someone who was seated inside that box and they were addressing us. Very interesting. But when you discuss with our peers, they will tell you for them, they had to first, for you to watch TV, you had to first shower.
Okay.
TV, those were the words. Then you see everybody dashing to the bathroom, and then you come sit on the mat and wait to see this person behind this television. So television growing up was a very interesting thing. But I like the people around this generation, because nearly every household has a smart TV somewhere, or a TV of sorts. And the other interesting bit about those big TVs that have bumps, sometimes in the middle of watching something, the TV will go off. So you'd see your parent going behind and tapping it, and after tapping it like this, you see the pictures coming back. Very interesting. I don't know what kind of magic they had in their hands, but the tap usually did something to bring back a picture that you are watching. Very interesting story.
I think I have experienced that one. I have hit a TV back. Yes, so how did these operate? Did you have to put, I don't know, a CD somewhere, but then it's too tiny for a CD? There was no memory card, I bet, to put in here. How were they able to watch?
Now, you will notice that these were analog TVs. That you had, first of all, today we have satellite dishes connected because we are receiving a signal from a satellite somewhere. Now, back then, there were analog masts that you used to relay information. So you had to put a very long aerial outside your house to tap it into the behind so that you can receive that kind of signal. And the interesting bit about it, so that you will have to be two people, one inside and the other one outside, so that they can help you turn the aerial to a position where you'll be able to receive a clear signal. I don't know whether you remember that around Mbiko, as you're going to Jinja, every household had a very long area like this. Why? Because they are like lying low in terms of altitude, so they couldn't receive a signal. That's why every household had to receive that. But these TVs were also good in a way that these were portable, so you could also carry it, but there were those bigger ones like the one you see that were seated in a sitting room. Now, in order for you to get entertainment outside what is telecast by the then UBC, you had to have a video deck. So that video deck had movies recorded on or other programs pre-recorded, and then you push it into a deck, press a button, and then you'll be able to watch your favorite movie or program or something like that. Yes.
And what were these buttons for?
These were the different buttons. For example, there was the UHF kind of a channel and the VHF. Okay. So you would like, as you're tuning, turn them like this. You keep on tuning. Then when you see the picture is clear, then that's where you would stop. There were different channels. There was channel 10, channel 20, channel what, and then those are the channels within which you'd locate the button, and then you're able to like tune it to get a clearer picture. I remember the satellite in Mpoma did a lot of things. There was Butevo, where people would receive signal from Butevo. Even in Mwizi in western Uganda was, and then there's another one in Arua. So there were different stations, base stations, that would relay pictures to people who had the luxury to have TVs in the old days. Yeah.
Wow, that's been interesting. If only they could take us back in the days. You talked about watching a TV, you had to first shower. That was quite a very good, experience and also motivation for the young ones to shower. Well, it's been quite a very good journey taking us to the vintage world. I bet we have learned so much about it. Feel free to share what you think about this in the comments section on our social media platforms. You can check out on UBC and also get to visit Brim's Heritage Research Center, get to meet Mr. Emmanuel to give you all this information and you get to see for yourself. Please give your closing remarks to the viewers.
Thank you very much. I want to thank UBC TV for this opportunity. Because if probably you didn't come, the population out there wouldn't know the kind of heritage we are preserving. I also want to appeal to the population to not just waste everything. Everything is not waste. There is value in what you call waste. And for those who have such items and they think they no longer want to use them, feel free to donate them to us so that we can preserve them and make good use of them. Because we know that your great-grandchildren will come to learn about these items, and probably if we didn't preserve them, then they wouldn't have something to learn from. For more information, you can always contact us on our socials at Brim's Heritage on all social media. Thank you.
Yes, don't waste those items. You can donate them, bring them through so that they are stored. The coming generations will also have a chance, just like us today, to see what used to happen. It's been a very interesting topic again, vintage. Stick with us. It's been Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. Welcome back from JMU Tourism Express. Time for JMU Business. Today, my name is Julie Nantabamosisi, and we are starting off with matters Bank of Uganda that has maintained the central bank rate of August 2025 at 9.8% in a bid to maintain stability of Uganda's economy. Now, despite a volatile and uncertain external environment on the continent and on the international scene, Governor of Central Bank Michael Atingi Ego attributes continued stability of Uganda's economy to continued investor confidence and stable exchange rate positions favoring the shilling. Over the past 12 months, the price of goods remaining below the medium-term target of 5%, prompting the committee's stance to maintain the central bank rate. Over the past 14 months, the Uganda shilling has strengthened against major currencies, especially the US dollar, which stood at 3,590 by press time yesterday. This appreciation is mainly due to higher coffee and cocoa exports, earning over $2 billion in the financial year 2024-2025, and increased interests from foreign investors in government securities. However, central bank financial analysts say that this situation hurts exporters who must sell to other markets when the dollar is weak. So government must ensure that such enterprises are sustainable. Bank of Uganda watches market forces locally, regionally, and internationally to maintain financial systems stable. The Monetary Policy Committee report is Bank of Uganda update on the state of the economy, explaining recent changes in inflation, growth, and the shilling's value. It also outlines the actions it will take to keep prices stable to support economic growth. Now, looking at a story on gold's karma, State House Anti-Corruption Unit has arrested 8 men and a lady with security operatives for frauding a Nigerian national in a fake gold sale. They obtained $70,000, promising to sell 150 kilograms of gold, but upon paying the money, they disguised that government had put restrictions to foreigners to acquire such huge amounts of gold. The accused include Tibasima Babra, alias Katushabe Sharon, a Ugandan and secretary of Emerald Company Limited, Paluku Chisasi, a Congolese national and a seller of the gold, Safari and Kokwa, a Congolese and a purported clearing agent at Legacy Refinery Company, Isaac Mpende, a Congolese and purported agent at Legacy Refinery Limited as well, and Abdul Majid Kahirima, a Ugandan and purported gold smelter. Mpenge Isaac, a Congolese and a purported agent, Mabongo Prince, Congolese and a purported gold seller from Congo, and Kajubi Tevin Chome, a Ugandan and representative of Emerald Company Limited. Now, the 8 were arrested by State House Anti-Corruption Unit on 6th August 2025 at Muyenga. The suspects target foreigners in the disguise who work with government officials and relevant government institutions, pretending to sell genuine gold, whereas the victim, a Nigerian national and a member of Nigerian parliament, narrated how he came in touch with these fraudsters to the effect that he persuaded to make a deposit of 70,000. He was persuaded to make a deposit of $70,000 to them to sell him gold. He added, although he paid the required money to them, all was in vain when he requested to be delivered with the gold, he said. State House Anti-Corruption Unit head says that the 8 will be taken to court, and Babuine called upon the public to be vigilant and respond, as well as report such incidents to the authorities. $6 billion has been disbursed to teachers under their SACCO program, but the Uganda Liberal Teachers Union is now grappling with a leadership dispute that could disrupt the scheme. The Uganda Liberal Teachers Union says 200 teachers have benefited from the 6.6 billion SACCO, with 52 set for training on Friday. Progress continues amid controversy as a leaked letter allegedly from the Trade Minister orders reinstatement of former SACCO chairman Kaganizo. Officials accuse the former chairman of illegally misusing official branding, documents and corporate wear, calling his actions misleading. They thanked law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies for their support. The SACCO program supports teachers with practical projects without the need for lengthy proposals. All right, with that story, it brings us to what the forex rates look like. And as of August 12th, 2025, the dollar was buying at 3,555.68 and selling at 3,565.68. And by midday, it was at 3,555.14 and selling at 3,565.14. And it dropped tremendously by close of day at 3,555.05 and selling at 3,565.05. The British pound was buying at 4,771.94 and selling at 4,785.36. And the euro was buying at 4,129.19 and selling at 4,140.80. Now the Kenyan shilling was buying at 27.51 and selling at 27.59. The Tanzanian shilling buying at 1.41 and selling at 1.41, and the South African rand buying at 200.23 and selling at 200.79. Well, that's it for GMU Business today. Up next is the agenda, and as every Wednesday, we have conversations on the cooperative movement in Uganda. 0709602592 is the WhatsApp number that you are able to use to engage and be a part of the conversation. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks, Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business, it is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Kamiso now. Now you can get direct answers.
Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Juko. Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Ekitebe kino ekibiina eki kikatandika 2016 tukaba tuyina obusente buke munonga obutakubaasa kutumalira tukaba nitusevinga kandi nitwahura nitwohoza turi bamemba 30 kusya 2021 emyoga yija emyoga kuyizire twahindura mu system eyabirera outside catering twageta restaurant akoba catering catering yakariyo restaurant twatandika kusevinga kirecho twasevingira he mitwaro nshanjo na gumwe iki twatandikireho ekitebe echo twatandika no kuyayo sente z'emyoga 2021 okwezi kwa mukaga ebiri kuma okwezi kwa mukaga tuyihayo ruti yo kubanza miliyoni 3 hanyuma ya 1 month kutwagarikire batuhereza miliyoni 5 zaba 8 twazishashura twazumara myezi mukaga twagarukayo tuyayo miliyoni 10 twayihayo zindi 10 twazishashura zaba 28 hati tuyini 10 ezituriyo ntitwazo meisho niza 38 konka obwa hati kyakigwo restaurant tuyine miliyoni 58 n'emitwaro 2 ezitwayesevingire itwe nka association tukuru kugira ngo tukozesize emyoga yonka ekashanga nitwe turi abakozi nitukora emyoga kuyizire tine magoba yatwongeserereza itwe twakora magoba go kugira ngo tugureho poroti twagigura twareba ngo kugura poroti tukombeka ate kuja kututahiza juba nko kutwakubire tuyine business endijo twatunga entasiya ya buri zoba tuyine hibiscus juice twakora wine twakora liquid soap twakora herbal jelly ezo zabe entasiya zaitu nkabantu tuyine na millet flour ebyona ebikutahiza ekitebe eki nikwamagoba garukurugamu omuri ebi twamara kutunda twagumizamu ntuombeka poroti yaitu eyekibiina ahabwa emyoga so ekindi kugambira nti emyoga niyo yatukozesize ebi etakizire tukaba sitine sente tukasitakagizire na kirooto cyo kugira ngo tushubure nkabanyakibiina enju hati tukingire tushakire tukingire commercial business kandi tukyayombeka nikwe bino nibigumana bireta sente nibizara sente nitubaganaho nitwe nk'abanyakitebe nitusevingaho mu kitebe kitu kandi nitugumiza muno kukora development y'ekibiina so vari addition ekatuyamba munonga abwo kuba ekatwongera sente twayongera amani ahabwe emyoga ebitoke byabire nibidiba twatandika kubikoramu wine cyatuyamba umwanya gwo kugira ngo tubitematemere ente n'embuzi twabikoramu wine ecupa imwe ya wine ntugiguze emitwaro 2 kandi ekidomora kya wine ntugiguze emitwaro 6 hibiscus juice tuguza akadomora ku rwartemwe kugarukira ari 5 nero waringa pressure na sukari netambe kigaro nkemyoga ntsima president Museveni abwo kuba talizire ahitwabire turi tukasitari nka hato kuturi konka hati sente ziriho niwe nkano kireba ngo ebinte bitwine birukutasiya nebitasiya burkeire amagaragarije abo kuba tuyine sente hiziri ecyo kuteganisa no rufurgo nkabite bisigire noba no yehurraje akwa wenda kunywa soda no yarojinyi wenda kurya nyama no yarojirire so ngo turije so ngo abantu baganyirwe kandi icyo twenka tuganyirwe ne cyaro kiganyirwe itwe tugobire amagoba guturukwihaho tuyine mbuzi tuyine punu abantu bona buri muntu ayine nkoko kandi ababire bine obujubuti bakombeka amaju ababire batine bibanja bakagaruka bayongera kugukobwa ngo bakora baguzire bibanja so turukurungi basingomaza nibekolera barije munonga tebakwegomba kugira ngo nanka ino mushija nukwari kurungi kureka bakatunga sente tukatunga muzaire Museveni yatemyoga so turukurungi umuntu wena nana yitaga sente niko base kukole bintu akabaje nkanye nkajowana bahumugisha ni sima obwebembezi bwa president Yoweri Museveni nyowe ebyanje bitambwire kurungi tinde ngabarebire byobote no mini abakazi bakaba batakora bintu mbwire bomini Museveni ahangare nko musoro ahangare kisapeho ayebari sima bwongerwa
The circle started 5 years back with 15 members who were part of the executive, and we managed to use the same 15 members to mobilize the youth and come in to make the 16 associations. So each member took a thought of gathering, mobilizing the 15 people to make associations. So the circle was established. We happen to have 229 members that could have.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV. If you started the show with us, thank you always for waiting for us and starting your day with us. If you're just joining in, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi. Now, every Wednesday, we have conversations when it comes to the cooperative movement. And today is not any different. We are looking at the need for policy reforms to steer sustainable cooperative growth. And in studio with me to do that is CPA Ivan Asimwe, the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and Miss Jacqueline Zawede, who is the Communications and Marketing Manager at the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Now, the number for you is 0709-602-592 to be a part of the conversation. Good morning, Ivan.
Good morning, moderator. Pleasure being here, and good morning all our viewers and cooperators outside there.
All right. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Good morning, Julie. The other time you said that we are starting to co-host slowly by slowly.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think I'm now also a co-host.
You are. We're all co-hosts. We are co-hosting this show every Wednesday to talk about the gospel of the cooperative movement in Uganda. And I'll start with you, Ivan. Why is it important to have reforms in place at such a time as this for the cooperative society?
Thank you so much, Julie. Once again, cooperators and all our viewers outside there, good morning. This is a very wonderful morning. We are really very happy, and we want to thank the Almighty God first for enabling us to come here to share and discuss issues regarding socio-economic transformation of this country. And as usual, I want to begin by appreciating UBC, the board and management and the government in general, because this is owned by government. I want really to thank everyone for giving us the platform to speak to the cooperators. This is one way of disseminating information.
All right.
Because in the cooperatives, the fifth principle for cooperatives is cooperative education, training, and information. But how do you get these people? It is through a platform like this. So we are so happy. Thank you so much, Judy. Convey our regards to the entire team of UBC.
They are receiving the flowers as I speak right
All
now.
the flowers.
Yes.
Now, policy reforms. You know, Julie, currently we have over 46,000 registered cooperatives in the country.
Right.
Those are so many. It's a very big number. And all of these cooperatives cut across. Talk about agriculture. You hear about Banyankole, Bugisu, Wamara, Sebeye, Legon, East Mengo, West Acholi, all of those are agricultural cooperatives. They are unions. Then you talk about area cooperative enterprises, the Bukawa, there are so many. Talk about SACCOs, savings and credit cooperative organizations. I need to specify this because sometimes when you tell people, they say, no, cooperatives are not there. We only see SACCOs. A SACCO is a cooperative. A SACCO is a savings and credit cooperative organization. It's a cooperative that provides financial services to its members. Then we have energy cooperatives, health cooperatives, transport cooperatives, tourism, name them. There are so many.
Right.
To the tune of even PDM, Myoga, all those are cooperatives. To the tune of 46,000. And they are serving approximately 18 million people. Don't you see we have a biggest constituency in this country? Now, what is the implication? It means that these 18 million people, for them to deliver well, there is a need for policy reforms so that they are supported. There is an enabling environment for them to operate. Take an example. One is taxation. Now, what we would want to see are tax policies that are really good for the cooperatives to operate. The challenge we have seen, Jackie, we have seen here, Julie, is the fact that most people, including the policymakers and the taxman, they do not differentiate between a cooperative, a company, and an association. Okay. And for that matter, you find that policies, especially tax policies, that are applied for companies are the same policies that they apply to cooperatives. This is why I want to appreciate His Excellency the President. You know what? On the 30th of December 2015, we had issues of taxation of SACCOs. You know, most SACCOs had been closed by URA. Most of the accounts had been frozen in banks because of tax arrears. And what a taxman would do, he would come to a SACCO, for example. By then, I was a general manager of a SACCO. In fact, I had just left, but even then, when I was still a general manager, we had the same problems. So a taxman would come to a SACCO, then he says, are you compliant? And of course, these are SACCOs, they have just started. Take an example like now PDM. They have just started. Now, this is a manager who has been employed. He has not been trained in anything to do with taxation. Now, for him, he sits comfortably, knowing that everything is okay. So the tax, after like 5 or 10 years, the taxman would come and say, have you been paying taxes? Now, they start computing backwards, and you find a SACCO with almost an asset base of 10 million, has a tax liability of around 50 million. Now what do? You close down and go.
Right.
So in other words, the taxman was closing SACCOs until we went to His Excellency the President and brought this matter before him and said, Your Excellency, you have the passion, you have the love for cooperatives, you love this country. We have this challenge. What do we do? But I want to thank him. Immediately he ordered, and we got a letter. The letter was saying, government has decided to waive off all tax arrears on SACCOs, which is a very big credit. So that one requires a policy shift. In 2017, we had still issues because the other waiver was lapsing in December 2015. So January 2016, we are supposed to continue paying. So we engaged His Excellency and the Parliament of Uganda. And I want to thank the Parliament that finally agreed with the government that let us put tax exemption on SACCOs. Why are we saying this? Julie, a SACCO is a cooperative. And a cooperative is defined as an association, an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their socio-economic, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. It is member-owned, member-used, member-controlled, and benefiting members. That one beats the legal entity concept in accounting. I'm an accountant. Because this is a SACCO, assuming this is our SACCO, Julie.
Right.
Where do we generate money as a SACCO? From its members. You get me? And like a company, like a banker goes to Chisoro and puts a branch there. The public in Chisoro are not the shareholders. This is the public, third parties. But a SACCO generates revenue from its own membership, not outsiders. Now, the problem now URA would do was now, which is double taxation. You now, when the SACCO has made the surplus at the end of the year, then they would say, pay 30% corporation tax. Who bears the burden? Me, the owner, the member. Not the company, because the company has generated profits from Chisoro, and the people of Chisoro are not shareholders of that company.
Right.
But the SACCO is generating revenue from its own shareholders. Then you tax it 30%. They would even move on to charge again 15% withholding tax on dividends. So you are taxing the same person. They would again go and say 15% withholding tax on any interest paid. to members. You see? Now, the government is promoting financial inclusion, but again, this side, you are killing it by
exclusion.
You see?
Yes.
You are now promoting exclusion
yes.
as a taxman.
Right.
Now, the two don't match.
Yes.
Then again, they would say any loan exceeding 3 million, then you would again charge 10%.
Of
10,000 as stamp duty. So all these taxes were brought together and we petitioned the parliament. UCA, Ukusku, and other unions. I'm happy that finally parliament responded and gave SACCOs 10 years tax exemption from 2017 to 2027. Now, why are we discussing this tax, the policy reforms? We are saying government has just started the parish development model SACCOs. These are babies. Again, the Myoga, these are also babies. Now, after 2027, if you say SACCOs, you start paying taxes, it will be like you produce a child. Before the child is walking, you again kill your own child.
Right.
So, you will need to give them time to grow. Like you see these investors, an investor comes here and they give a tax holiday. Why? Because they want to grow the business. So we are saying there should be a policy on taxation, and it is happening in other countries, that a cooperative is not taxed like a company because the ideologies differ. A company is started by a proprietor who is a capitalist and who is looking for profits. But a cooperative is started by me and you members who are not looking at profits but are looking at livelihoods of the members, community development, and the balance is called the surplus, not a profit. So based on that, the tax regime should be different. Talk about cooperative education as another policy reform. Now, cooperative education, I'm very happy to inform Ugandans that we started the cooperative education in 1954 here. After the repeal of the 1946 Cooperative Ordinance and the coming in of the 1952 Cooperative Societies Act, immediately cooperatives started growing very fast. And immediately the government realized we needed the cooperative education. So 1954, it started at Nsamizi. 1963, government constructed the Cooperative College at Bukaras, which later went to Chigumba in 1974. Now, by then in 1960s and the early 70s, duly it was a policy that every person who works with the cooperatives must undergo a cooperative course in Chigumba. Why? You need to understand the cooperatives. Do you know that today you can go to a SACCO, you find the staff of a SACCO who cannot define a cooperative? He's a staff, he's a manager, paid a lot of money. But just put him aside and ask, what is a SACCO? The man doesn't know. For them, they just think a SACCO is this. So we have a problem. So what are we telling government? That if we are to have very strong cooperatives that are providing services to members, we need to emphasize cooperative education. Do you know it is embedded in the law already? Section 54 of the Cooperative Societies Act, this book, it's very clear, and it says that at the end of every year, each registered cooperative society shall provide 1% of its net surplus towards cooperative education. The same is emphasized in international cooperative principles. Principle number 5 emphasizes cooperative education, training, and information. So what is the implication? The implication is that we need a policy on cooperative education so that you empower members, you empower leaders, you empower management staff, you empower the public, and that is why you find some circles today are collapsing. Members don't know their rights. Members think that a circle is for a manager, a circle is for the board. You find a whole member coming to a circle and bending, my boss, he's calling a manager the boss. Why? He doesn't know his right. The circle is owned by you as a member. But we can only do this if there is cooperative education. Yes.
Very profound at that. Now, I know there's more reforms and I would love to hear more of them. But let me first head to Jacqueline. How do the reforms help in the development of cooperatives?
Thank you so much, Julie. I love the way our GS speaks with a lot of passion when it comes to cooperatives.
He does.
Yeah,
He surely
because
does.
he truly believes in the notion of cooperatives, just like anybody else should. And you see, when he talks about the cooperative education, these are some of the things that we want to see, the reforms in policies and regulations come to actually support.
Right.
Because, like he has ably said it, when it comes to compliance of some of these cooperatives, they do not know, they are not compliant. Go into their books of accounts, go into their audited books. They are not there, and yet they are member-owned. So a cooperative will go and call maybe an AGM, and then they do not have any audited accounts. But when these reforms come into place, the cooperatives will know that we have to be compliant. That for us to be able to move our circle, we need to be very compliant. Talk about industrialization. Now, this is when you go into the goals and the theme of our NDP for this year, 2025. You will know that one of its actually activities that they want to enforce is industrialization. So now when you put these reforms, when you put regulations and policies, you will know that our cooperatives are now going to start industrializing. When you go to these different cooperatives, for example, Ankole Cooperative Union, these people are doing dairy, you know, they are industrializing. They are doing dairy, industrializing in dairies. And they are really doing a very good job in terms of industrialization. When you come to cooperatives that are into coffee hulling, they have put up assets. I'm telling you, Julie, cooperatives are very rich. They have assets out there. But if we now put policies where now they are going to turn this into not merely subsistence living, but industrializing, so that they are able to even access markets at a fair price, so that they are able to export products that have value addition to them, they are going to be very far away. Let's talk about standardization. We want to work with the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, so that once the cooperatives are able to produce, they get that Q mark, that quality mark, that standardization mark. But sometimes even our corporates, they do not know that actually for me to be able to take my market to my produce to be able to compete favorably on the market, it has to have that Q mark, that standardization mark. So now we want to work with the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, whereby we bring our cooperatives together, we build their capacities, but it has to start from the policy itself, that before you market your produce, it has to have that Q mark. When you talk about promotion of inclusivity and sustainability, there are very many policies that are out there that are looking at inclusivity. For example, that women have to be on the management and governance of cooperatives, but sometimes we do not see them because we don't have policies that are being enforced. There is no inclusivity at all. I tell you an example of the Sebe Union. It's just of recent that after they did the capacity building, we partnered with Agritera, who went down there and they did capacity building of the Sebe Cooperative Union. They told, for them they had policies that for a woman to be on the board, first of all, they had to have education that is up to O level. I told you that for women, it is very hard down there in the communities to attain that education because of the things that we suffer.
Right.
Every month we have our problems as women that leave us leave us not able to now go to school to compete favorably with the men. And yet these people had put up policies that for you to be able to be on the board of Sebe Union, you have to be O level graduate and above. On top of that, you have to be able to, to channel your produce and market and products through our union. The women are out there. They are waking up to do domestic work. They are not able to compete on the market. So there had to be a training by Agritera, and they told them that you have to change your policies. You have to change your policies that at least 20% of your governance should be composed of women. And I'm glad to say that right now, those people are out there. They're having chairpersons who are women, and there's a lot of inclusivity. So if we do not enforce these policies and regulations, then we shall not see even the youth themselves, people who are living with disabilities. Talk about market access. This one I've already talked about. Talk about the governance itself. the governance and management of SACCOs. We are seeing corruption in those SACCOs. We are seeing embezzlement of money. There are those financial, you know, vices that people have to now look out for and say, no, there has to be a policy. If the person is a manager of a cooperative, does he have all this exclusive power to manage it? Don't we have a say in all this? Where is the AGM? Some cooperatives are out there, but they last held AGMs maybe 5 years ago, okay? Because there are no policies that are governing them. But when there is a reform of policies, we shall see that some of these things are going to change and we are going to have a better Uganda.
Right, thank you very much. We are talking about the need for policy reforms to steer sustainable cooperative growth in Uganda. And in studio is Miss Jacqueline Zawede, who is the Communications and Marketing Manager at the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, as well as CPA Ivan Asimwe, who is the General Secretary of the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Coming to you, Ivan. With all these policies, Uganda, it's said that Uganda is known for having the most beautiful policies on paper, but rarely implemented or never implemented. Now, policy implementation versus the policies we have right now, which of the two do you think is the challenge to the cooperative movement?
Thank you so much. You see, like you are saying, Uganda is known for having very good policies, but implementation is a problem. But the biggest challenge in the cooperatives, it is a reverse.
Okay.
Why? Many Ugandans don't understand the cooperatives. That is how I can mention it. Many people you see here talking about cooperatives, they do not understand the cooperative model. They just talk, but sit him down. That's why it is a very big problem. Like now I've mentioned the taxation. When you explain to a taxman, you really understand. Though, like you see, like when you go to our law, Section 32 of the Cooperative Societies Act, Cap 107, is clear that a cooperative is a body corporate. Body corporate, yes, even a company is a body corporate, but the principles and values differ. The definition is differ. Now, that one has an implication on taxation, because you need to understand what you are taxing. That is a biggest policy that is needed. So that policy is not there. And we are saying, let it be there. Then, let's come to, let's say, industrialization that she has mentioned. Now, when you go to other countries like in Europe, it's a policy that these smallholder farmers must produce, aggregate, add value, and collectively market through their groups or cooperatives. Now, but you come here, you find Julie, a farmer is being exploited to 100%, and everybody is quiet like nothing is happening. You can imagine, you remember the other time when we talked about milk. Now you find a farmer, dairy farmer, he's getting like 500 shillings per liter of milk. But someone who just takes his milk, puts it in a kavera, just kavera, and brands it, and is selling it at 4,000 shillings. So who is making more money? So the policy would be, like I saw in Italy, the policy would be all smallholder farmers must work through their cooperatives, so that you don't produce and supply alone. You go through the chain. Now that one helps government, one, to formalize businesses, because we have so many informal businesses. So how do you formalize them? Formalize them at that level. Right. And now it helps the country to increase the tax base, because now people are aggregated together, they have formalized the businesses, and then you are able to make sure that these people produce, aggregate, add value, and collectively market, and the government is able to get taxes. And the farmers are not cheated because they are collectively going to the market together. That idea, that policy would work very well. Talk about government programs. This government has really supported Ugandans through various programs.
Yes.
PDM is there.
Emyoga.
Invite project. Grow project. Youth livelihood fund. Women entrepreneurship fund. Agricultural credit facility. There are so many. CAIP, Community Agriculture Infrastructure Improvement Program, Agricultural Cluster Development Program, Vegetable Oil Development. There are so many. But Julie, the challenge we have is that we don't have a policy of saying, let these programs be implemented using the cooperative model.
Right.
Because that is how you get the smallholder farmers. Julie, you are here, Ivan is here, Jack is there. How do you support them? Bring them together using a group methodology. Support them together. I will tell you, like, for example, now, everybody is very happy of PDM. You have gone to a parish, you have supported a member who is Julie to start poultry. But you should think before you give money to Julie to start poultry, you should think of the market. What is informing you to giving Julie money to go and start poultry? Is there a market? Are there standards? Are there quality standards that are needed? Are you going to provide extension services? Are you going to add value to Julie's products? And all of that can be done through the cooperative model. That is a policy that we are looking at so that people can really chase away poverty. You know, Uganda is a country gifted by nature, the Pearl of Africa, but unfortunately with the poor people. Why? The policies are not really tailored to supporting the local content. Now, we continue, there are so many policies that we need to look at so that we can really transform our people. Now, another policy, talk about asset disposal. I don't know whether you have heard this. So many cooperatives are losing their assets, including UCA. Most of our assets were illegally transferred and sold. Unions are losing a lot of assets, buildings, land, and everything. How? Scrupulous leaders and managers. They just make their own cocoon, and you hear they have sold the building, they have sold the land. The members are not aware. There should be a clear policy that nobody should sell the assets of a cooperative society without the approval of the annual general meeting and also approval of the registrar of cooperatives, so that they protect the property of these cooperatives. Many unions have lost properties, Julie, because the policy is weak. It is not there. So those are certain things. Go to accountants. For example, I talked about cooperative education. You find a whole accountant. I'm employed in a cooperative union, for example, Banyankole Kweterana, but look at how I prepare accounts. Do you know they prepare accounts as if, you know, in accounting we study company accounts.
Right.
International Financial Reporting Standards, International Public Sector Accounting. But we do not study cooperatives. There is no clear standard on reporting in cooperatives. Now you go there, down there, in a cooperative union, and you find they are reporting sales less cost of sales equals gross profit. A cooperative union does not buy and sell. It aggregates members' coffee or whichever milk using the cooperative structures. Me and you, we bring our milk together. It goes to a primary society. Then from primary society, it goes to a union. And then myself as Ivan, I own my milk until it goes to the market. Unlike a company where if I have my company, it buys and sells. So that one already has an implication, because you are recognizing purchases, yet cooperatives don't purchase. They aggregate members' produce, either coffee or milk or whichever.
Right.
And then they pay. There is first payment, there is second payment, and there is premium payment. So all of those payments, how are you capturing them in your accounts? You go to a SACCO. A SACCO is of financial nature whose reporting is liquidity. You use the order of liquidity. But now you go there, you find these guys in SACCOs are using order of permanency. So there is a lot that is needed. That one now takes us back to cooperative education, training, and information. So a lot is needed, Julie, in order for this country to grow cooperatives very well. A lot of policies. Lastly, let me talk about the legal, regulatory, and policy regime. I have been coming here and I've been talking about the legal lacuna. Now, in 2003, Bank of Uganda amended the MDI Act to allow regulation and supervision of bigger SACCOs. The bigger SACCOs, by categorization, are those SACCOs whose share capital is 500 million plus and voluntary savings 1.5 billion plus. All of those are supposed to go to Bank of Uganda. Now, they are supposed to go to Bank of Uganda to be supervised and regulated as MDIs. I want you to get me clearly. However, the MDI Act defines an MDI as a company. Yet a cooperative is not a company. Are you seeing the confusion? So what you are trying to regulate is not what you envisage. Because the law says an MDI shall be a company. But here you are bringing a cooperative. Those are totally different things. Now, 2016, government enacts a law. Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Act. I also want you to listen very carefully. Now, under this act, there is a section that says that you cannot call yourself a SACCO unless you have a license from Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. I want you to listen to the confusion. Now, a SACCO is registered at birth. The moment me and you and Jackie, 30 people, come together, immediately the name shall be, let's say, UBC SACCO, Savings and Credit Cooperative Organization. But the law says you cannot call yourself a SACCO unless you have a license. So it's like you are saying you cannot be born unless you are baptized. Is it possible?
No.
Have you gotten that analogy?
No.
That
I
you
get the
cannot
analogy,
be
but
born
yes.
unless you are baptized.
Yes, in other words, you can't be baptized unless you're born. So
Can
now,
you
yes.
You can't be baptized unless you are
born.
So that one is a confusion already.
Right, yes.
Then, 2020, government amends the Cooperative Societies Act. For it was Cap 112 giving birth to Cap 107. And it says, all circles now, by the way, you come back to the registrar of cooperatives. So ideally, we now have 3 laws and 3 regulators. Bank of Uganda, Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, and the Register of Cooperatives. Regulating one subject matter, which is SACCO. That is confusion.
But different.
All these regulators have cost implications. And you find one regulator is saying, by the way, I can liquidate you. Before you know it, all the other regulator says, by the way, I have power, I can regulate you. So among the two, who liquidates you, who regulates you, who does what?
Right.
So all that confusion, we are saying, no, let there be a policy of saying, let all circles be regulated, supervised under one room, the way it is in Kenya. That's why Kenya has moved very fast.
Right.
Now, cooperative bank, you know we have started the cooperative bank. Do you know what happened in Kenya in 1966? In Kenya, when they started their cooperative bank, government came up with a policy and directed all cooperatives to buy shares and deposit in the Cooperative Bank of Kenya.
Right.
That is how it was able to grow very fast. Now here, the same can happen. The government can come up with a policy and say, now that the cooperators have started their bank, a policy should be all cooperatives buy shares and deposit in the cooperative bank.
Right. Now, the question I will have for you, and that will be after Jackie, but please take note of it, Ivan, is are you at the table when all these policies are being made? Because how far did we come to this confusion? But let me come to you, Jackie, with the quagmire that Ivan has painted is at play. What next? What should we expect from duty bearers?
Thank you. You see, Julie, we have said this, and this conversation has been going on over and over on different platforms. We've gone to TV now, like we are here. We've gone to, we've held symposiums, we've held conferences, forums, very many places that we've gone with this conversation. But now it comes down to the policy now. How do we reform it? What are the channels that we use? How do we do it? You know, we were tasked, we have a general, a board, an AGM, where we always have to report to. And we are tasked that you go and do research about these policies. You go and see what is that the cooperatives need support in terms of enforcing these policies. And then we went back there and we did our research. We had partners with stakeholders that we were moving around with and onto these platforms. Now we want to come back to take stock of how far we have gone. We want to come up with a position paper, Now, on the 23rd of September, which is next month, we are holding a national conference for cooperatives, where we are going to bring all cooperatives together. And our theme is driving inclusive and sustainable livelihoods. Now, you see, we drive that theme, we derive it from the International Day of Cooperatives theme, but also we want to touch on to the NDP and the budget. The NDP talks about, you know, the household livelihoods.
Yes.
There's a portion of, you know, that inclusivity, there's the portion of industrialization. So now we want to bring them all together. And as much as we say that now our baby, which is the cooperative bank, is going to be launched on that day, because now we have already, you know, mobilized and so on. But we also want to look at different topics. And among these is now the reform for policies, the regulation and policy reform. And now we want to go back and say, we have done our part. We have done the, you know, the background, you know, kind of mobilizing and so on. So now there's a position paper that we want to write, and then we take it before our duty bearers, the parliamentarians, the state house itself, the cabinet, and we want to say now, these are the issues that we are facing. Cooperative education is lacking. We want to you know, you want to look at examples like Tanzania, like South Africa, like Kenya, where the cooperative education has already set off and it is flying. And yet for us, we are lagging behind. We are talking of an East African kind of community. But Uganda is always being left out because the policies are not favoring us. So we want to write that position letter, that position paper. And then, you see, we always have consecutive days. The national conference comes first, and then the following day is the AGM. Now, once we have that position with us, we say, now, this is what we want. Before we go ahead to write it, to put it into action, we want to get approval of our AGM. The AGM is the one that approves everything, like he said, that it already approved these things to be done. Now, we want to see that it approves us to write a position paper. And once it says go ahead, this is the resolution, go ahead, we shall go back as management, as staff of UCA, and then we put this into writing. We shall go and hold stakeholder meetings. If it means coming up with a committee, just like we have a national steering committee for the establishment of the cooperative bank, if we have a committee that is going to sit down and put all these policies together, we are happy. We are even blessed that we have, you know, legal officers, legal instruments that are already working with us. We want to go to the Ministry of Justice and tell them, as much as other policies are being enforced, these are the policies that we also want to see being enforced. When it comes to standardization, when it comes to cooperative education, when it comes to compliance, these are the policies that we want to see enforced. Taxation. You see, GS was talking about taxation. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, the money that you're saving, you've already been taxed off that money. It's just like you, Julie, you get a salary. There is a tax that has been taken off. Then you go and save your little money that you have remained with. And again, they tax it. That doesn't work at all. So there has to be something to be done. We want to go and see how we now skill our people. There's a cooperative, the teachers union. These people, they know that their salaries that they are getting are meager. So what do? They want to go and even put more skills, to add on skills. You know, they go into retreats whereby they start now and they get knowledge of how to do baskets, how to weave baskets, how to do. There's a person I know who has brought people together into environment management. They pick waste, these plastics, these plastics bottles, yes, for you as you drink your water and you throw away. For her, she knows that that is money. So she will go and pick that bottle. She will go and get these caveras, and then they recycle it. They've started a whole industry recycling it, but there are no policies to favor these people. You get it? There are no policies to favor them. For them, they are being looked at as, it's just a waste of time after all. And yet, first of all, as they are managing and protecting the environment, they are also getting money out of it. And they've started a circle for themselves. Right. But where are the policies that are managing them? Okay? We want to go and tell the Ministry of Finance that these are the policies that we... So now that is what is next. To approach all the MDS, the ministries, departments, and agencies, tell them that this is what we have come up with. Please protect us as cooperatives.
Right. Let me engage a couple of your comments. Good morning, Uganda. This is John Buweswa coffee growers cooperatives located in eastern Uganda, Manafwa, at the district. I'm inquiring what is the role of Agriterra in cooperatives. Ivan, I think you should take note of that. And the other comment that comes through is, good morning UBC, I'm teacher Patrick Isaac Sendaza. I teach economics at Royal College Namugongo, and I appreciate this government for every initiatives it has put in place for our nation. I would advise the government to follow up efficiently the cooperatives put in place and show accountability before we reform the existing policies. Members out there don't even know the policies governing cooperatives. We need mass education of our natives over the cooperatives, starting from the grassroots, and also aim at teaching people the roles, how to start up a cooperative and other related systems over cooperatives. Thank you so much, Patrick. And one last one from Kenneth from Barara, who says, I really love your show when it comes to Wednesdays. I come close to my TV set, most especially for Ivan. He has good presentation about cooperatives. Can I have his personal number? Such that I have a conversation at length with him, and that will be up to Ivan to see how best he can get in touch with you or get you connected to the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Thank you so much for being on the show. Ivan, let's take it from there. Before we went to Jackie, I'd asked you, are you ever at the table? Is UCA ever at the table when these policies are made? How did we get into this whole quagmire of having 3 regulators or more?
Thank you so much, Julie. The answer is very clear. Had I been on the table, I would have guided this government to come up with very good policies, very good laws for cooperatives. But the challenge is one. You know, when they are preparing their food, they will never invite you. They only invite you when the food goes sour.
True.
I want you to listen to this statement. Very clear. They will never invite you. This is cafe. It's our thing. It's our food. Now, when it goes sour, that's when they say, by the way, we hear someone called Ivan. Where is he? Which is very unfortunate. Ugandans, you should appreciate the role of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Since 1961, 17th of June, speaking the same language as an apex body. But you find people are coming up with totally different things. For example, Bank of Uganda, for you to amend the MDI Act, it would have been better to invite the apex body and say, for us, Julie, we want these circles to be regulated because they hold the people's money. But the law should be favorable. So you invite us on the table and we discuss. I will tell you, when they were in the process of enacting Tier 4, 2016, they invited UCA. I was there myself. So during the discussion, I told them, you people, what you are coming up with will not work. Listen to us and we advise you. They said, I remember one of the consultants told me that, Ivan, we shall proceed with the law, whether UCA is there or not. And I openly told him that you have told me this statement that I'm less concerned, but this law will never work. Now you have seen all these quagmire. Why? You must understand the cooperative model. You see, Julie, I cannot go to hospital now, like Marago, and I go to a theater to operate a patient. I am not a doctor. Completely, I don't know anything to do with human medicine. But you tell me about cooperatives, even if it is 3 a.m., sleeping, I'll wake up and tell you, because this is my area. I'm a professional cooperator, having studied in Mosh University. We are only a few professional cooperators. So you need to understand that people, you appreciate people's knowledge and skills, use them to help the country to grow, but they do not invite you. So that is the answer I can give you. Now, first of all, I want to thank the callers, the people who have sent in messages. You really see, like Kenneth of Mbarara, people want cooperatives because they believe it is the cooperative model that is going to help this country to grow. And it is true, because you go to Europe, you go to America, you go to Asia Pacific, Julie, economies have grown because people learned to work together. That is what we need. Then someone called, I think, Isaac, a teacher.
Patrick,
yes, a teacher, that he teaches economics. He's very right. In fact, we should be looking at cooperative education right away from senior one. Like it is in other countries, there is a cooperative education from senior one. People understand what is a cooperative, the principles, the values, the ideology, and everything. So that by the time you even finish senior 4, you already understand the cooperative model. But here the confusion we have, someone who has never had anything to do with the cooperatives, but you are telling them, form a circle and we give you money. Do you think they are going to succeed? They'll just share the money, that is the end of the world. But if you start it early, I want to ask really the education ministry, why should you teach my child Tennessee Valley, St. Lawrence Seaway, British Columbia, this French Revolution, such things? Why don't you teach my child such a model, whereby I know that from senior 4, senior 6 or university, my child is going to use the cooperative model. If he does medicine, all doctors will come together, they form a very big facility in this country. If he does engineering, the same. They will form a union for engineers and they are able to construct roads, bridges, electricity, and everything. But you see the challenge we have. Someone is a graduate, but he has never heard about cooperatives. So it is very hard for you to change his attitude and his knowledge or understanding of the cooperative model. Right. So in other words, for the person of Mbarara, Kenneth, we have an office in Mbarara on Mbadifa building, that is from the bus park. You can go there, our staff are there, they can share with you. If you want me, they can share my number. Right. Isaac, the teacher, you are very right. In fact, in economics, I did economics, but I did not study cooperatives. Throughout commerce, you see our commerce, just like 3 pages talk about cooperatives, but around 20 pages talk about money and banking. Why? Have we ever sat down to understand that logic? Because the colonialists does not want Africans to cooperate. Right. So they hide the true information and they give information to go and teach you the legs of a cockroach. Can you imagine? Why don't you teach people that tomorrow they can use this model and make money? Because you see, Julie, why do we go to school? You don't just go to school to come here in the studio and speak good English when you have nothing at home to eat. We study in order to get knowledge, skills, make money, transform this economy.
Right.
That is it.
In today's language, someone would say, let me come to you, Jackie. And from Ivan's submissions, he mentioned something really pertinent, and it's about sensitization of the masses, really, even from a viewer, Isaac, the teacher. And I wonder, does the UCA have a plan or program to involve local government when it comes to sensitizing masses at local level, Muntu? And I'm looking at examples such as, you know, these local council chair meetings that usually take place on Sundays, where chairmen call for villagers, village meetings, yes, village meetings. Are there those opportunities that UCA can tap in?
Maybe, Julie, as she comes in, I want to inform Ugandans that on that point, in November 2023, we trained all commercial officers across the country. Those are local government staff. Why? Because these are people who supervise and monitor these cooperatives. So ideally it is good to build their capacities. However, during the trainings, we realized a lot of challenges. Right. These are people, these are their own testimonies, and say, you know, we are recruited by the Service Commission, or we are employed as commercial officers, but we are never skilled. So, which ideally is very good. So that is local government. So, but they need skilling and also facilitation. Give you the necessary skills and facilitate them for them to be able to move down, supervise, regulate, audit these cooperatives. That is when you have them very strong. We have engaged the Parliament of Uganda. We are engaging the politicians at all levels, only that we are limited by budget. Even as we speak today, Ugandans are listening, they are watching. So this is an agenda, but ideally what is needed is now to empower UCA financially, give it a bigger budget so that we can take this message to all, because you cannot develop without the local council structures, without local government structures. We are working very closely with the Ministry of Local Government on the PDM program. We are working very closely with the Ministry of Finance. But of course, we are limited by budget. Thank you.
Yeah, and Julie, those are some of the things that now we want to have in the position paper that I was talking about. But also, when you look at the Ministry of Information and National Guidance, we want to work closely with them, because these are the people who will grant us free air where these issues will come, even down in the communities. There are even technical working groups within these local governments where our commercial officers are part of. But like he said, they are not skilled. They don't have the capacity. They don't have finances. And now, if they do not even know what cooperatives are all about, how are they going to go and sit on these technical working group meetings? Now, that's why we want to appeal to the Information Ministry that please grant us that airtime. And we are very grateful to government, really. They are giving us airtime through the Ministry of Trade, where we have to go and talk about this kind of awareness. The other objective or the other crucial aspect why we are going to hold a national conference for cooperators is because now we want to create awareness. He said that out there people do not know. They are managers of circles, but they can't even define what a cooperative is. Now we want to create this kind of awareness. You see, Julie, because of this awareness, now people are interested. People are asking questions. People want to understand, how do we do this kind of thing? But the awareness is still lacking. So we want to use all these channels from the local government, from the networks that we have down there, the communities, even going up to the household level, sitting with people in groups and discussing how do we do it. Because if they have village saving groups, how about transforming these VSLS into cooperatives? What is there? What do they need to know? How do they register this cooperative? So this is what we want to do. And I'm glad that one of our mandate as UCA is to build the capacities of these people. And we have to endeavor in our work plans. We always make sure that capacity building comes out very well. And in different avenues, talk about digitization, talk about skilling. You know, GS has been talking about our education, and I laughed my head off. He talked about we are learning how many legs a cockroach has. In history, we are talking about Kinjikitire and Ngwale. Who has but now, you know, when you look at it on the other side, Ministry of Education has come up. When I have a son in O-level, and this boy was telling me about their syllabus, and it was very different from what I used to know. They do things, they are called AOIs, where now they put their minds to, to use. They put their hands to create things and their minds to think without having to be thought for. And this is going to help them now to create the jobs themselves, because they know the market they are going into is not going to create those jobs for them. But now Uganda, we are just coming up. Other countries have already embraced this kind of syllabus, this kind of education. But for us, we are still in the Bukuku area. Now here we are. We are trying to crawl. When are we going to get there? But I'm glad that UCA is now holding the mantle, and we shall get there.
23rd September will be the day for that conference, and it's one that you should be a part of, but also all stakeholders. Now, time is really against us, and Julie, we have to bring this conversation to a close.
I didn't answer John, who asked about the role of Agritera. Yeah, basically Agritera is it's a Dutch organization, and it is working globally, supporting especially smallholder farmers. And in Uganda, we have partnered together. We are implementing the Farmer Organization for Rural Transformation project that is supporting smallholder farmers. So it's a good organization, and we work together. Please, let's work together to ensure that we change this country together. Thank you.
And that comes in as our parting shot. And as we close, allow me to say thank you so much for watching UBC TV. Thank you so much for choosing to be inspired on UBC TV. This has been Good Morning Uganda. Good Morning Uganda Extra is up next with Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Allow me close this with a comment that comes in from Kangole Girls SS. Good Morning Uganda. Although you are discussing cooperatives, help me table the delay of the July salary for civil servants in Napak district. Good morning, Uganda. I hope to whom it may it concerns, the message has been received. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Peak of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.